All right, so we've done all our setup. We've set up our lists. We have set up our chart of accounts. We are setting up and set up our customer. And now we're ready to create transactions. We're ready to get income in. How do we actually do that? Well, there's two primary transactions that you can use to bring income in and document them on your customer files. The first one is invoice. Now, an invoice is used when we are waiting for payment. Now, QuickBooks uses another transaction called a sales receipt for time of sale. So if it's the time of sale, you're going to use a sales receipt. But we're going to use that invoice first. We're going to go ahead and click on that and create an invoice for our new customer. So our first step is to go ahead and type in the customer name, and then it will pop up and we can go ahead and choose it. Now we're going to be doing some weekly gardening for Beautiful Design Studios, for Jane's Studio, and we are doing 5 hours of weekly gardening. Now we've got a couple of options here. We can save this and send it. We can save it and open a new window if we're doing multiple invoices, or save that and close the window. We can also print this transaction. So we do have that option to go ahead and print, or print it later and send it later. Later on, I will show you how you can actually do that. We're going to just go ahead and save and close this since this is just a test file. And it's going to document that. And you can see that invoice is documented right there for us so that we know that we've created that invoice. All right, now we get the check in and we're receiving that payment. So we're going to come over to our Global Create and go ahead and receive that payment in. Now this is going to bring a screen up that's going to show everything that we have for our customer once we bring that customer in. So we're going to say, what invoices do we have outstanding for Beautiful Design Studio? You can see here we've got one. We're going to go ahead and choose that. Now, if it's not for the full amount, you can always change this amount in this payment. So you can do a partial, and QuickBooks will hold on to that information for you. Make sure you put the check number in. And then if you've got more checks to put in, of course you do your save and new. Otherwise, you would save and close this. Now this is receiving the payment and it's taking it off of the customer's account. When we received that payment, it went into a place called undeposited funds. Now, undeposited funds is a place that we use to hold our funds until we're ready to go to the bank. If you do deposit more than one check, you want to make sure it goes to undeposited funds. We're then going to, when we go to the bank, go to our bank deposit. So we're choosing our bank deposit now. Now you can see all of the invoices that are ready to deposit. We can just check these off. And now these are going to go in for this total amount into my checking account. If that's the way that you're putting it in the bank, you want a 1-for-1. If you're putting them in each as a single transaction, then you can put it in as one transaction and then go to the next transaction. Make sure that you're keeping it consistent to the way that you are actually bringing it into your bank account when you're doing your bank deposit. Now we can save and close this. So we've completed the invoice process. We invoice the customer, we receive the payment when we get the check in, and then we go to our bank deposit and deposit our funds. Now, the other way to document your transactions is to go to a sales receipt. Now, a sales receipt is time of sale. And so let's go ahead and use the same beautiful design. And this time, they're going to be paying us with a MasterCard. Now, instead of this going to this undeposited funds, I'm going to choose to send it to my checking account. Now, just like I said, depending on how your transactions come into your bank account, and our MasterCard shows each transaction, so I want that to match one for one. She gets some design work, and she has 2 hours of that. Now, because I deposited this to the checking account, this is the last step that I need to do. If I would be doing this and sending this to undeposited funds, I would need to go to my bank deposit. So those are the 2 transactions that you will be using most frequently to bring in your income for your customers. I am going to show you in the bonus area how to create advanced transactions. So you will be seeing that come in.